Graham, Vance, John, and I are swimming teammates in the pool and friends in real life. Join us as we muddle through what it means to be a man, a friend, and other topics that we care about. Always drawing upon the wisdom of the relay. Pick a lane, surround yourself with people who are better swimmers than you. Hope that everyone is able to do their best, because we're all in the same relay.
That's what I encourage everybody to do, is to find that relay, find that group of people that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, caution there, though. Like you're saying, find the people you're comfortable with, right? And I think even doing this for me is uncomfortable. Find the uncomfort.
I feel like a contrarian here, not on purpose, but I feel like I take compliments pretty okay.
So one of my favorite lines is, "How's that working?" And, being intentional about what's working and doing what works and then avoiding what doesn't.
Jeez. Yeah, I think even without swimming, this question about, how to take a compliment. It's a Tragically Hip song with that line in it. Close to that line. I can't take a compliment. I feel I can't take a compliment easily. How about I put it that way? I find it difficult. If someone's saying, "Hey, you're doing a good job," I'll make a joke. I'll dismiss it, deflect it. So I've interesting question. I don't know. I'm going to sort of beyond swimming and just talking about how I feel in terms of that. I don't know how that does for you guys, but
It resonates with me as well, Graham, and I'm the same way in everyday life. If someone says "good job," and I struggle with it. I definitely am the most confident, self-conscious person I know, so it's hard for me to take a compliment. It's a little easier in the pool, and maybe that's because I feel comfortable with swimming and I feel confident, and I'm being vulnerable, like you said, being in Speedos and stuff like that. That was a huge thing for me. So to be there, I mean, I'm the most confident, self-conscious person I know. I'll put it at that. Just to take my shirt off was a hard thing to do, being an ex-swimmer. So, but I still struggle a little bit with taking a compliment in the pool, but it's a little easier to do so. It just happened a couple days ago, where our coach, I was swimming breaststroke, which is not one of my I would say one of my favorite strokes, and not one of the strokes I think I'm good at. I think I'm just a freestyler. I've got to work on that. The guys are helping me with it, and the coach said that was a really good 25 breast, and I was like. Are you talking to me? She's like, yeah, it was awesome. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I accepted it right away. But I don't do that in everyday life. I struggle with that still. And I don't know why, but yeah. So again, this is just the beginning. This is translating well to my life. The more I keep up swimming, and the more I let it bleed into my very stressful, high-paced life, I'm really excited, and I'm really welcoming it and looking forward to where it's taking me. But I still know that I need the support of my team to get me there. So,
is there a difference in that between taking a compliment and, say, taking a direction from a coach?
Is there a difference between taking a compliment and taking
a coach telling you, "Hey, good job, Vance, doing," what is the equivalent of the race walk of swimming, which is breaststroke.
Graham doesn't like breaststroke. World.
No, but what I'm saying there is, I think it's good to have a coach come in and give you that direction, and it's almost easier to accept it because there's that level of trust. Like you're deferring what they're seeing and what you're doing, and you're accepting it straight away.
Yeah.
Right? Where maybe the difference, and maybe what I'm thinking here, is when a compliment comes at you that isn't sort of from a person of authority, if you will, Someone saying, good job doing whatever. It's like, it's harder to accept it because you don't have that level of trust that you do with a coach.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking this out loud. So
No, I agree. I don't have an answer to that.
I don't know if it's a question.
I don't know
Maybe
if it's,
rhetorical.
yeah, exactly. But I think it's more of for me, it's more of a position where I am. So something like I'm relatively senior in my role now. So I just think I have an expectation on me from the people that report to me to be a certain type and be there for them, and so I don't expect compliments. But in the situation with the coach, I'm not. I'm there. I'm looking for direction. I should be looking for direction in my life, and mentorship is huge. And I don't have a lot of male mentorship in work. And I'm very fortunate to have a lot of female mentorship, and I welcome it. So I'm in a unique situation in that way. But I do struggle. I struggle with taking compliments. But
the question is, do men have challenges taking compliments? And for me, I think there's been a couple key reflections that have really helped me to get perspective on it. I work in an industry where the witticism was no news is good news. And so you're working in this vacuum of kind of this, stoic isn't even the right word. I think it was a misapplied term because I respect stoicism, but this was kind of almost a poverty of direction, and where the impact of the negative commentary could be almost more impactful is maybe one of my takeaways. And when I got to swimming with the benefit of, 30 years kind of reflection, it was almost a reset. It was almost like a reliving my teenage years again, because I'll share a story that was really quite profound and somewhat embarrassing, but I feel safe here. When I was a teenager, I found it very challenging to do some of the breath hold work that we did as a group. I don't know if you guys remember that time that I had a bit of a moment. I consider myself a fairly well put together person, capable of handling high stress. And I remember something triggered me. It was either the temperature of the pool or a smell that kind of brought me back to like 1989. And it was a specific workout where I was just like in a moment where I was extraordinarily stressed because I had to hold my breath for 50 meters. And it was quite intense. And I remember popping up and just going, I got to get out of here. I think you guys kind of walked me through it. And our friend Garth, he's like, you okay? And I remember just feeling a total loss of control, and it forced me to reflect on, what are the attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors that would kind of trigger me to be that way. And one of the things that I realized as I started to unpack all that, trying to reset myself forward, was there's a lot of people that give advice, but I don't want to give advice. I want to show people what I've done and who are you taking advice from, and who am I giving advice to? And so in that moment, I kind of made a commitment to stop giving advice, but to start sharing what's working and let people around me kind of experience that. And I don't know if you noticed a change in my vocabulary, but I'd say, hey, this is working for me. And that kind of started this conversation of encouragement. So I stopped seeking and craving compliments, and I started to seek out wisdom and modeling from what works for others. And so it was almost a perfect algebraic reconciliation of whatever was kind of causing me anxiety from 30 years ago. I just kind of put it to rest, and I hit reset on a whole new opportunity to kind of live better and get rid of those anxieties. And it was funny how, for me, that moment of extraordinary, uncontrollable, irrational stress was the reset for what I think has led to a lot more perspective. That's long, maybe a ramble as well, but that was kind of what happened. So I'm putting the goggles back. I think it's your turn, John.
Okay. The question is, do you take compliments well in or out of the pool, is what I'll elaborate on. I feel like a contrarian here, not on purpose, but I feel like I take compliments pretty okay. I in fact seek feedback on a regular basis. I seek, I guess being seen for me is a big thing. I want to be seen. I want know that I'm doing the right thing, be encouraged and being complimented. I'm not trying to tease out more compliments from you guys. We do a good job of complimenting each other, I think. And in or out of the pool, that's kind of who I am. And so I'm not off put. Like I'll make, humorous remarks on occasion to deflect on some compliments that I feel a little bit more awkward about on occasion. But for the most part, pretty okay with compliments. And I like it. Like when, Suzanne will give us feedback or coaching comments, it's really productive because it helps me focus. And when I do well in a race, and I feel really good about it. I like it when other people notice that I feel good about it or that I've done well. And so I appreciate that. So whether it's cheering or complimenting, I like it and crave it, and I think I do well with it. So I don't mean to be a contrarian, but I really like it. I don't know why.
You make a good point, though, and this ties it back to the theme here. It's about a relay, right? It's about a group of people. We don't all have to be the same, and we're not. We're all quite different. We bring different things to the table, and we lift up people's weaknesses and complement each other's strengths. That's what a relay is about. Especially if you get into like the medley relay, where we're all swimming a different stroke. Graham, definitely not breaststroke, and you're likely fly, but we all bring something different to the table, and at the end result is the finish line and a good result, so the fact that you can take compliments well, and some of us struggle with it, that's a learning for us, right? That's what a team member does, and that's what I encourage everybody to do, is to find that relay, find that group of people that you're comfortable with, share where you need support, and mentor people on your strengths and build them up, and eventually Graham could swim breaststroke. And I could swim butterfly. I know, easy now, buddy. Easy, big guy. Easy, big guy. Yeah, but you get where I'm going, right? It's but yeah, you're only as good as your. I know it sounds cliche, but you're only as good as your team. And a lot of guys don't have a team. So find your team, find your relay.
Caution there, though. Like you're saying, find the people you're comfortable with, right? And I think even doing this for me is uncomfortable. Find the uncomfort.
Seek discomfort. Yeah, good. Plug for a good YouTube channel. Yeah.
No, but not seek it. But like you're saying, find the group that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's a hard task. Like we're lucky, honestly. Like we kind of found this thing, so we have to recognize that we're a little lucky there. Mm-hmm. So maybe not seek to find comfort, but just sort of seek it, whatever the it is.
Yeah.
Seek how to take a compliment, apparently, for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
This podcast thing is hard. We'll do it together.
We'll grin that.
Yeah.
That was something that brought me here to this whole thing, was how does it influence kind of my day-to-day walk? And I find myself regularly talking about what I did in practice 3 times a week as applied to my work. Like, if we don't get the basics right, if you don't eat good food, you will not have good energy. If you're not swimming with the correct technique, you're just going to be applying a lot of effort. And so I started thinking about that more philosophically, and I thought, when you start applying this to friendships, relationships, family, fun, there's going to be certain things that work and certain things that don't work. And so one of my favorite lines is, how's that working? And, being intentional about what's working and doing what works and then avoiding what doesn't is kind of, if I'm hearing you right, it's like, this works. And as it doesn't work, change your stroke or get back to basics. Mm-hmm. We live in for me, I was reflecting on how we live in a highly processed age. And so I started turning off some of the media I was consuming because it stressed me out. And it just worked better. So, all of a sudden, instead of reading a bunch of gossip websites, not that there's anything wrong with that, I started to focus more on reading or learning about a skill that was going to help me maybe perform better in practice, like eating more quinoa or something, gave me the same sense of satisfaction that I can share that with somebody. But it's like, hey, this works for me. Like you guys all know about my sardine thing. Well, that works for me. But you don't have to try it if you don't want to. So what works. On the theme of constant, never-ending improvement, I read this book about what other people do. Kind of, this was the beginning of my journey back to swimming because I was stagnant. I often ask people, if you had to write an autobiography, would you feel that it was different every 2 years? And almost everybody I know, everyone I've asked that question says yes. So I started asking it myself. Do I want to spend the next 2 years getting better, staying the same, or getting worse? And so investing in getting better. What happens if you leave a garden untended? Weeds, right? So I realized I might have to do a little more weeding. And one of them was my diet. I realized I'd kind of gotten sloppy in my diet. And so I read this book that said this one guy, he had sardines and he felt great. And of course, me being me, I tended to go overboard. And so COVID, I started finding all these great deals on sardines, and I've got an entire drawer of sardines upstairs. And yes, I eat them. No, they don't taste delicious all the time. I tell myself they do, but they make me feel great. So yeah, that's my sardine story. But just fun to talk about too, because it's kind of eccentric. So there you go. So I've got one for Graham.
Okay, I defer. This will be mine by proxy. Sardine story.
So Graham and I were hanging out, and I'm like, Graham, Graham's in really good shape. So just so you know, like Graham is really fast. Like when we were swimming together, this guy basically pops up like a UFO halfway down the pool, swims a 50. It's phenomenal. But Graham, how do you do that on pepperoni?
And here's your compliment, by the way.
Yeah,
here's your compliment.
Say what?
I just observed you to be eating a lot of pepperoni. And I was like, do you like pepperoni? He's like, yeah, I love pepperoni. I'm like, how do you swim so fast with pepperoni?
You observe me eating pepperoni because pepperoni is prevalent around here. I have a pepperoni ban at my house.
You have not actually provided us any sardines. Pepperoni ban.
You're attributing one thing. Yeah. So, it's either it's spicy or it's just there. So I don't know how to answer that one.
That's my quirk is hot sauces. I don't know if it's quirk, but I'm addicted to hot sauces. So much that I had to argue for space in my fridge for like a literal whole door in my fridge of hot sauces.
Approximately how many bottles?
I'd say about 40, 35 to 40. 35 to 40. Yeah. I know that now it's not, I have a couple of novelty ones that'll throw out and say, hey, everybody, challenge everybody, like try this one, but it's terrible. It tastes metallic and it's stupid hot. But I do have a lot of tasty hot sauces. Now, my wife would tell me that my idea of hot is, or not, my idea of not hot is hot to her, or like blow your face off hot. But yeah, that's my quirk. Right now, that's my obsession is hot sauces.
Yeah. If it's obnoxious numbers of things, I've got 5 barbecues.
Yeah. That's
got,
why?
Well, 3 of them are smokers. So one's electric, one's offset, one's sort of a barrel, and then two grills. So to Tom's question about pepperoni, I just like meat. Yeah. So 5. Yeah. So 3 smokers. My electric usually do fish in that because it's sort of slow. The offset I've only used a few times, but makes a mean brisket. But it's hard to kind of.
What's an offset?
Oh, so you have 2 chambers. I won't get into that. And then the barrel one I do most of it on. But I'm eyeing a pellet smoker too. So maybe by the summer I'll have 6 to talk about. Yeah,
I switch. Another thing I've done in COVID is, and it was a health choice. I'm an older man now, and my dad unfortunately has passed away, and he had cancer at a young age, and so I went down the media. Netflix and watched all the shows on what's good for you and what's bad for you. But I went vegetarian, much to everyone around me. I was great with the sous vide and I was great with the barbecue, and everyone was quite upset to hear that I switched to being a vegetarian. Now, sorry, I'm pescatarian. I eat fish, but to get the protein. But that was a big move for me. Someone who ate a ton of meat all the time. But I do see the benefits of it for me. But I'm in no way to each their own. Everyone, But it's worked for me. So I can eat sardines.
We should brush some up.
John, you're not getting out of this.
Yeah. So I don't have any crazy things. I thought when Vance was answering, I have lots of hot sauce. I was like, oh, how many is a lot? Because I got about 8 or 9, and he said like 30 or 40. I was like, that is a lot. So that's not my.
No,
thing.
8 or 9 is a lot. Mine's an obsession.
And then I guess the only thing that I do on a regular basis, and I'm really trying to cut back on this, very sweet tooth oriented, and I'll eat a full pint of ice cream to myself on the couch, just watching a show 3 nights a week. It's really bad, really bad. But I think I'm cut back. Last couple of weeks, I haven't had any, so that's pretty good. But I do love chocolate chip cookie dough. I love a whole bunch of different kinds. But that's one thing that is just, if it's in the freezer, it's not there for long. Yeah, full pint of ice cream. That's it.
It's not it for you.
I got a few.
Because there's a cool thing I think you should share, which is only new for you, but because we all enjoy a few beers and stuff like that, but you should let the audience know about your point system.
Oh, my spreadsheet.
Your spreadsheet, your spreadsheet obsession, but you can go on to that later. But your point system for alcohol and how that relates to swimming and exercise, which I think is brilliant.
Very good point. Yeah. So I go through these like random self challenges on an ad hoc basis, but this one recently that Vance is referring to. I love spreadsheets. I love doing my own little spreadsheet work and then put out all these numbers. And so for this year, what I'm doing is a point system, which takes two things and pits them against each other essentially. So drinking and exercise. And because I like both, I'm trying to do both in moderation. And so every 2 kilometers of swimming or 5 kilometers of running or 10 kilometers of biking earns a beer. And so I'll get a minus score for every one of those that I knock off. And then every beer I have or every drink I have is a plus score. So it's like my own version of pub golf. So it's every month or every day I score this. It's a plus if I have a beer. It's a minus if I did a workout. And at the end of the month, I'll have a plus minus. So my plus, I was a +5 for January. I'm currently sitting at a -1. So I'm doing better this month than last month. But yeah, it's pretty fun.
I thought it was brilliant because it's like everyone gets into this dry January thing, and I did it. I spent all January, but that's something that is sustainable through the year. And you also, your exercise, it motivates you to exercise. You're being motivated by alcohol consumption, but it motivates you, and it's calories in, calories out. You're getting to do both things you want to do. You can translate that in. You can translate to tubs of ice cream if you want, which I think is brilliant.
Cans of sardines.
Yeah. Or can you have too many sardines? Una?
Well, actually, as a segue, I've actually started finding that incentifying myself to the behaviors I want to replicate has been good. So when I eat sardines and I skip, maybe the temptation of maybe an unhealthy lunch, I actually pay myself out of one savings account to my healthy eating account, $20. And when I get enough money, I'm gonna blow it on something fun and stupid. And it's funny how that has helped me to focus on that moment of weakness where I might not make the decision I would have without that incentive. And it's funny because when you mention it, I don't think I would have done that without that mindset of watching the clock, counting the meters, and the discipline that comes with regular training. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it gives you that focus in the moments where you're like humming and hawing about what should you do. It gives you that there's a little bit of extra weight to the positive side of things, right? So I know exactly how many meters I swim every single workout now because I got to tally that. And I know exactly how much I consume a week because I want to keep track of that. And I think it's just one of those things where to your point, it's incentivizing that moment of decision making to a positive outcome. Yeah.
We should capitalize on your love of that and then have a SharePoint with a spreadsheet. You can track it for all of us and then let us know how many beer we can have.
Link in the description.
Link in the description below.